Hello everybody and welcome back to another Kings of War battle report. I'm Visibly Riley, and today we have Elves versus Salamanders in this is a practice game for the Emerald Dragon GT, so it's 1950-ish points, with the scenario being Scavenge. And before I get into the list themselves, I will say I have something to say about this battle at the very end of the report, so stay tuned if you want to hear that. Moving on, we have my opponent's army, which opens with the Inspiration of the Ancients formation, which involves 2 regiments of Ancients and a Clan Lord. This Clan Lord has Banner the Griffin and a Mount. In this formation, both the Ancients gain the Inspiring rule, and the Clan Lord gains Rally 1, so with that banner, Rally 2. Also, it's Fearless, I want to say, so pretty good. Then we have a Horde of Tyrants with the Brew of Sharpness, a Horde of Ancients on Rhinosaurs with the Caterpillar Potion, a Horde of Gekota Sky Raiders with the Jar of 4 Winds, Artakal, a Gekota Skylord with Blade of the Beastslayer, a Mage Priest with Martyr's Prayer 7 and Teleport 3, and 2 Liquilodons. Also, this army is being supported by Nyx, everyone's second favorite dragon, and quickly becoming their favorite dragon, but I still rank it second out of the list of dragons available to us in Emerald Dragon Con. Just to go over Nyx real quick again, it's a 75 by 75 monster. It is speed 9, melee 3+, defense 5+, 7 attacks, dash 17 nerve, with brutal, fly, regen 4, Stealthy, and Thunder 2, along with Fog of Pain, which is a Wind Blast spell with Piercing 2, Mind Rot, so it's essentially weakness that doesn't stack with weakness within 6 inches of Nyx, and Decay, which forces your opponent to reroll a single die at your choosing. So pretty cool, only usable once per game on Decay there. As for my thoughts on my opponent's list, I think overall it's very good. The only things I would change, I don't think Brew of Sharpness should be on Tyrants. I don't like Brew of Sharpness on anything with only 18 attacks, although the Tyrants are pretty sturdy as long as the Clan Lord's around them, so who knows. And then I don't like Martyr's Prayer in this sort of a setup, just because there's going to be a lot of height 4 monsters with some serious ranged attacks, so I just feel like Martyr's Prayer is asking to die. But otherwise, I think it's a solid base for a list. Moving on to the elf list that I've been running, this opens up with a Horde of Kindred Archers with the Heart-Seeking Chant, followed by 2 regiments of Forest Shamblers, 2 hordes of Draken Riders, a regiment of War Chariots, a Dragon Kindred Lord with Brew of Haste, an Elven Mage with Alchemist Curse 10 and a Mount, 2 Elven Princes, both of whom have a Mount and the Saber-Toothed Pussycat, and then a Forest Warden with Blizzard 2 and Inspiring Talisman to round it out. I was also bringing Nyx, so very similar rules obviously, and this list is... It's not quite a copy of Keith Randall's list that he recently talked about on Countercharge, but I liked it enough that I went, oh, it's pretty close to what I was running, and I like the idea of running these Elven Princes, so I just threw them into the army real quick and called it good. As for my thoughts on the army, I think it is obviously very solid. Maybe not best piloted by me, but it is a solid army. I am thinking about taking Nyx out. I've just been trying it out. I think Shenron is the better dragon, and I do have the double Draken Rider Horde to run Shenron with, although I don't quite have the speed boost. I don't have the... I don't really want to pull points from anywhere to get the speed boost I need on those Draken Riders to really abuse it, but who knows, it might be good without it. And moving on. So here we see the table set up, and actually this is a little past that, but let's go over the table real quick. On the far left corner, we start out with a height 6 forest. Right above that, we have a height 2 hill with a height 1 obstacle attached to it. Above that, we have a height flat water feature. Then right below that, we have another small height 1 obstacle attached to a height, I think it's 4, impassable there. Then we have another height 4 impassable over here to the right of that. Right below it, we have a height 1 obstacle attached to a height 2 hill that has another height 1 obstacle attached to it. Actually, working back up into my opponent's deployment again, we have a height 6 forest over here, and then way down in my center field, we have another height flat piece of terrain. So that is the terrain layout for the table, and then for the scenario itself, Scavenge is an interesting one, but pretty simple. Starting out, you have an objective in the center of the table, and then each player, starting with the one who won the roll-off, places one objective onto the table, onto the center line of the table, so more than 12 inches away from each other and more than 3 inches away from impassable terrain. And so my opponent, I believe, placed this blue one, and then I placed this red one just because, yeah, I don't think either of us are really a spread force, but I'm definitely not. And yeah, I plan to just... Anyway, we'll go over that later. With Scavenge, all three of these objectives, at the start of your turn, if you control them, meaning that you have the highest unit strength within 3 inches, one of your units can gain a loot token off of it. So normal loot rules apply, so individuals can't have it, war machines can't have it, so on and so forth. And then you are slowed down, you can't fly, no nimble, blah blah blah. The other thing that happens, oh no, I just realized something, don't worry about that. The other thing that happens is that you can only have one loot token per unit in this scenario, and if you ever defeat an enemy unit in close combat, you can burn their loot token. So instead of picking them up, you can just destroy them, so the table doesn't end up littered in loot. So that's the scenario. At the end of the game, the person with the highest loot wins. Let's go over the army list real quick. I'm going to go over the elves first because I doubt I took a picture of them. Starting on the left, we see my first regiment of 4 shamblers. Then right here, we have my first elven prince with Pussycat. Right below that, we have the second regiment of 4 shamblers. Behind them is my mage with Alchemist Curse and a mount. This dragon here, the one on the big gray base, that is Nyx. Right below that, we have my regiment of war chariots. In front of it is the forest warden, played by an ogre today because I couldn't be bothered to go out to my car. I was a little tired. And to the right of that, we have the horde of archers just hanging out in the flat terrain. And to the right of that, we have both the hordes of Draken Riders with the Dragon Kindred Lord between them. And then behind it, the second prince on a pussycat. This is obviously after I've moved, so I do get first turn. I believe I do have a picture of my opponent's army, though. Yes, I do. So on the left here, we have the Rhinosaurs with Pathfinder. To the right of that, we have the first Lachilodon. To the right of that, the first regiment of Ancients from the formation. Then off to the right of all that, we have the horde of Tyrants with Brew of Sharpness. To the right of that, we have the Clan Lord on mount with Banner the Griffin. Then we have the Lachilodon to the right of the Clan Lord. To the right of all that nonsense, we have the second regiment of Ancients. And to the right of the Ancients, we have Nyx. And then finally on the far right, we have the Gekkotas Sky Raiders, with to the right of them, the Skylord. I hope I call it that the whole game. I probably won't remember. But the Skylord has Blade of the Beast Slayer, and the Gekkotas Sky Raiders have the Jar of 4 Winds. So moving on, I obviously get turn 1, and here is all my movement. And at the end of combat, it's pretty simple turn, although a very effective one. First off, I just take my horde of archers, move forward. My opponent wins. I should say my opponent wins the roll off to choose who goes first. Both of my shamblers have vanguarded within 3 inches of the objective, and I believe you can start getting loot at the top of one, assuming that you vanguard, because you have to start your turn within 3. So my opponent gives me turn 1, giving me 2 loot tokens, but making it so all my shooting has to move forward to get, to shoot. So it's essentially -1 to hit for turn 1. So my archers move forward, my chariots move forward, everything moves forward. Both these shamblers do grab a loot token and then back up 2.5 inches because they're now speed 5. I move one prince behind the hill here just because there's nothing. Well, I mean, these rhinosaurs can see them, but I'm outside of 14, so just getting my chaff in position. I get Alchemist Curse behind some other chaff, so more chaff layers to start raining in on these Def 5 units, and then I get Nyx and the chariots and archers within range of these tyrants. So this is actually after Nyx has shot them, but I shoot in with my archers. My archers do 8 wounds, which is pretty fantastic given that they're 5s to hit. This piece of cover just barely did not give them the 50% from where they originally were, which is somewhere over here. So 5's the hit, and then 4's the wound due to my heart piercing. I do 8 wounds, which is pretty nuts. My chariots do a wound, and the Nyx does 6 wounds. So really good rolling there. I end up doing 15 damage to these tyrants turn 1, but they do have the Banner of the Griffin rally, or essentially the rally 2 clan lord right here. So I'll need a 5 twice to kill him, and I fail. So unfortunate, but I do get a ton of damage there, and I push them 6 inches back, so basically in my opponent's backfield now, and I do manage a waiver because I roll a 4, of course. So yeah, that's the end of turn 1 for the Elves. Let's see how turn 1 for the Salamanders goes. Another picture of the die. So oh no, that's just, okay, weird. We just had a repeat there. So turn 1 for the Salamanders. As you can imagine, on the left flank here, they just sort of advance forward. The Rhinosaur is angling towards my center. The Ancients are kind of trapped here because, I mean, they're not trapped, but I have a lot of, or a decent amount. I've got a height 4 Nyx here, height 3 Chariots here, and these guys can't see any of my units that are closer, right? So I can just out-threat these and eventually kill them. The Rhinosaurs are like, oh no, because they're kind of off on their own right now, and the Lachilodon does end up taking safe harbor behind the Salamanders here just for protection, the Ancients here. So in the center, you can see the Tyrants just elect to not do anything because they're wavered, so they can walk backwards or spin, and they just choose to sit still. The Clan Lord has moved forward a little bit. Same thing with the Lachilodon. The idea is to just stay out of range. Oh, I did, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention this. I also fired we can walk probably a picture back. Yeah. I forgot to mention where our Tockle is. So our Tockle is back here somewhere, like just poking out, and I basically move forward my height 2 blizzard machine, hit with both my blizzards, do 7 wounds to it turn 1, which is again pretty nuts, but I still fail to roll the 6 twice to kill it. So 5 twice, 6 twice, too hard for me. But anyway, our Tockle decides to run behind this house to avoid the blizzard, which seems smart. Nyx gets into range just to shoot into some Drakons, which is okay. Same thing with these Skylords. Or not the Skylords, the Sky Raiders. The Sky Lord is over here to the right, facing kind of like this down my line, because I positioned nothing except for this Prince in terms of being able to counter it. But I do have a fair amount of shooting, so I'm not super worried. And this Lachilodon, as I said before, is just out of 20 for these from these Draken Riders, so ready to shoot into me if possible. Although I think, yeah, and then I think Nyx is just out of 22 of my Draken Lord. I did forget that my Draken Lord had brewer paste most of this game, so don't expect too many weird charges that way. In my opponent's shooting phase, oh, this is the action shot. In my opponent's shooting phase, it's pretty nuts. So, these Gekuta Sky Raiders are hitting on 5s against my Draken Riders, right? Because they, well, doesn't matter if they move because they're throwing weapons, but I do have an obstacle in the way. So they shoot on 5s and then they wound me on 5s with Vicious. They end up doing 7 wounds to me, and then mixed with Nyx's Breath 10, which again, well, that's ignored for the purposes, well, it ignores cover because it's Wind Blast. But these two, I guess actually, I think the Lachilodon also shoots me. Ends up doing 10 wounds to these Draken Riders, which is far above average. I think on average, these 2 units end up doing like 3.5-ish wounds, and Nyx probably does another 3 wounds, so way above. And I do end up wavered, and things are not going great. But it is just sort of payback for what I did with my shooting turn 1, so, you know, turnabout and all that. The Mage Priest that's right here does cast Martyr's Prayer onto the Tyrants and manages to pull 6 of the wounds off, which is also really good, but also kind of bad because I do have Blizzard for sniping out Martyr's Prayer targets, although my opponent has intelligently hidden behind this Lachilodon. So we'll see about that. And that's about it, I think. Yeah, that's it. Oh, I think this Lachilodon shot at my 4 Shamblers over here and managed 1 wound on him, but they're dash 14, so they ignore it. well, they don't roll a nerve check. So moving on to turn 2. So turn 2, yeah, these guys that took 1 wound just about face and walk away from the kind of rhinosaurs. I'm not sure about this. I think I moved this unit before doing anything else, so I'm not sure what they're doing. I probably should have angled them a bit better so they could get ready for a countercharge, or just pulled forward if I was going to block with this prince anyway. Just pull forward, don't get into the overrun arc of the rhinosaurs, and just wait for that flank or make them reform. So yeah, again, a mistake. The prince is here, again, mostly to block off these rhinosaurs, but I also do have a cat to throw, so I can throw a cat at this Elchilodon real quick, so that's always good. And then I move these shamblers up just behind the hill here. The idea is that I can always drop the loot. I'd probably drop it on this side, but I can always drop the loot and then have my tree herder move over and cast Surge on them for Surge 3 if I want to. I probably won't, but I could. And they're not needed just yet. My chariots move forward like so, just to, well, I'm hoping to get the killing blow onto these tyrants, but with that 6 heal off, it's going to be a little hard. So yeah, I have that target, or I can shoot into this wounded mage priest, obviously. So those are the plans there. And then also I've lined up some counter charges either into these ancients if I want to, or over here if this clan lord decides to come party with Nyx. I have a counter charge here. I leave the archers here, of course, move my tree herder over a little bit. It looks like I think the tree herder is facing like this, so I have some pretty decent line of sight in terms of counter charges and for my blizzard. So I can I'd probably choose either the Gekota Sky Raiders or the Sky Lord, and I decide not to charge with my prince because my opponent has placed the Sky Lord, so the prince will end up getting hindered no matter what. And I just went, well, I could probably just kill it because I just moved the dragon over. The dragon is firing over this obstacle, but it's height 4, so that's 10 breath on 4+ with elite. 4s and 4s with elite, and then 5 4s and 3s with elite and the cat reroll rule, and then of course Blizzard 2 to try to finish it off. So 2 4+ into d6, blast with 4+ to wound. So I'm not super worried about this Skylord being a threat. On average, it's probably at least wavered because I think it's an 11-13. And then my archers are just going to take a pot shot at something. This Elchilodon is out of their line of sight, unfortunately. They could have moved to threaten the Elchilodon, but I don't think they need to. So they'll probably either shoot into Nyx, who has regen and stealthy, or more likely into these ancients. So that's the plan. Oh, and my Nyx decides to move up here, mostly to threaten all this little support here in the corner, and then also to pull them forward into me with this barrier acting as a bit of protection there. So that's the plan. Let's see how it goes. Here is the action shot, blurry as it will be. And here's the end of the turn. So starting on the left, I do kill off this Elchilodon with my cats. I only managed 3 wounds, which I don't know how average that is, but it's not great. The math is a little hard for me to do right now with the, it's 5 attacks on 4s with elite, so that's binomial, and then you end up wounding on 3s, and then those 3s turn into 4s with elite, and so on and so forth. It's just too much for me. But 3 seems a little low. But I still managed to kill by rolling a 10 twice, I think, yeah, with the Inspire there. I do fire my Alchemist Cursed off here, and it's a little lackluster. It only manages 3 wounds onto the Rhinosaurs. Again, a little below average, but not terribly. My horses here shoot at the priest that was here and fail horribly, which means that Nyx now has to finish the job. Nyx does, managing, I think, 4 wounds onto the mage priest, which is pretty good, killing it off. My archers manage 3 wounds onto these ancients. That's pretty bad because it's 20 shots on 4s with elite and then 4s to wound, and I managed 3, so not the best. And then finally on the far right, you can't see it, but I also flub there with again the 5 dice on the cat. the 10 dice on the dragon, and the 2 blizzard, which does hit and then double ones the number of attacks it gets. I manage 7 wounds, I think, on the Skylord, and I don't even waver it because, yeah, we got it, guys. So anyway, moving forward, a little bit of bad luck there, but let's see if my opponent just follows me into the trench once again. So, turn 3. Maybe I didn't get a picture of his turn. Let's move forward a little bit. Yeah, I didn't. Sorry. Let's talk about my opponent's turn. So what ends up happening here is that these rhinosaurs easily kill off this prince, and then also gain a loot token because I'm not contesting this at all. So they gain a loot, kill my prince, and then overrun 1 inch, so not the best. The ancients move forward a little bit just to hide behind this hill. The clan lord charges into Nyx, which is not great for Nyx, but not terrible. So we'll see about that. And then everything else, I think these ancients move forward a little bit. I'm not threatening them very well. Again, I have these dragons pointed like this, these dragons pointed like this. So yeah, these dragons my opponent plans to just shoot off the table because he's already done 10 wounds to them, so why not? And then these dragons, because I failed to even waver the Skylord, the Skylord has a flank charge, so that'll be 10 attacks on 3s and 3s. I don't know if the Skylord has any native Thunderous or anything, but does have the Blade of the Beastslayer, so at least 3s. So yeah, it'll 10 attacks on 3s and 3s, I believe. So just going for, a lucky waiver or a more likely disorder. So that's that. With all that said and done, my opponent does annihilate these Dragon Riders, rolls insanely well again for the number of hits and wounds, puts them well over their value, and then rolls back-to-back 10s to kill it, so it wasn't really all that relevant. The only good thing that happens there is that Nyx doesn't Wind Blast me out of my Inspiring, so at least it was 2 rolls. So yeah, these Drakons are dead. The clan lord here that charged into Nyx fails to even wound Nyx, so fully able to shoot and fly, if I so please. The prince is just run over by the stampede here. My opponent only misses 3 times, which is a bit... well, it's unfortunate for me, but also not that relevant. Just running into my bit of chaff there, but yeah, only 3 misses, no failed wounds, obliterates that. And then the Skylord charges in with 10 attacks, hits 8 times, wounds me 8 times on 3s and 3s, which is crazy, and then also waivers me. So super unfortunate for me, but we'll see what I can do about it. I don't know. So I gave my opponent the flank here, and honestly, the only thing I would change is moving forward with the Drakons. So I'd still get flank charge, but over here. I just, expected to kill that model. It didn't happen. The other thing I could have done is taken the Dragon Riders and actually just started pivoting over here, but I just didn't think that these Gekota, because they're hitting anything they want to shoot at for my Drakons, it's 5s and 5s to wound me. But yeah. Dice be dice, guys. And we move on to turn 3. So turn 3 for the elves looks a little like this. I do have a charge with my Shamblers. Sorry, I forgot the name of them. Right here. So the Shamblers that were here had a charge because these are height 3. So they take that 10-inch charge, get in there. We'll see about that. These Shamblers, the ones that were facing kind of like this, move 5 inches over here. I take my wizard and place it behind the wall here, ready to, well, I need to kill off these tyrants right now, or Nyx will probably die. So yeah, going into the tyrants there, Nyx has an easy flank charge with the thunder still into the side of these ancients. So we'll see how that goes. And then I've got these chariots, which had picked up a loot token during my turn, decide to just charge into this clan lord, and unfortunately I didn't take a picture of it, but this clan lord, it should be a flank charge. So yeah, this is a mistake I believe we made in the game. Let's roll a picture back. So Nyx is like this, and then the clan lord ends up something like this. This is 100% flank, even after they fall back an inch. So yeah, it should not look like this, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, that's what happens. I decide to move forward with my Forest Warden just to block up these Ancients a little bit. And also I want to have my Blizzard ready to threaten these Tyrants in case the Mage fails. I decide to move my Dragon forward a little bit. So my Dragon... Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. Yeah, because Nyx alone gets my Draken Riders to double ones. I believe... No, Nyx didn't. What happened here? So it must have been Nyx plus this Lakiladon. So the Lakiladon was hitting my Drakens on 4s. The Lakilodons this entire game are hitting on 4s and have only missed with 1 shot each volley. So they've been 3 volleys, so 3 misses out of the 15 attacks on 4s. But yeah, this Lakilodon plus the meager amount of damage that Nyx does here is enough to put 7 wounds onto my Draken Riders here. Putting my double ones. Sorry, I misspoke before. Because these Gekuta fire at my dragon on 5s and 5s and manage 5 wounds on it. So, yeah, hot dice. I take that dragon and move it forward. I'm pretty much threatening Nyx to come at me. Because I don't have... Well, I'd rather Nyx not come at me, but I really don't want Nyx and my archers right now. So I'll take what I can get. And this dragon is set up to flank into these... Ancients, if so be, and also to get a breath attack onto them. So I still have some pretty significant shooting into these Ancients if I want to, because I've got these archers, I've got the dragon, and I have a blizzard if I want it. This prince now has to actually charge the Skylord and take it out. These friggin' Draken Riders got wavered. Originally, the plan was... I mean, I planned to kill the Skylord, but if my opponent had managed some normal dice, I also would have had a double charge onto Nyx right here, with the Drakens being protected from this wall by my Dragon Kindred Lord. So yeah, that would have been 18 attacks on 3s and 5s because of Nyx's aura of weakness with Elite, and then 10 attacks on 3s and 3s with the same. So... I don't know. It probably would have got me killed though, because I ended up taking 5 wounds from range attacks anyway. So yeah, the prince goes in here. The Draken Riders just turned to face because I couldn't, because I ended up wavered here. I can't move them in such a way. I mean, I could pull them back, I guess. That was probably the play. But instead I turn them like so. I also moved this dragon a lot, like a lot during this turn, and originally I had it here-ish. I think it was here, facing like so, and I moved it forward so it could get a breath onto these Ancients, but we'll see how that goes in the end. Because again, it is speed 11, so it has a pretty serious threat. And here is the action shot, blurry as it may be. And here's the end of turn. So first off, these 4 Shamblers manage 0 wounds. They don't... no, they actually do well. The 4 Shamblers here manage like 1 or 2 wounds, but they hit like 7 times, so pretty good. Nyx does very poorly against these Ancients, but honestly, it was a bit of a mistake on my part. I was thinking Nyx was like most dragons. I don't know. I mean, I had the stats in front of me, but... Actually, I didn't. We had to look them up. But after I charged. So I was thinking Nyx had at least 10 attacks. Nyx has 7 attacks. So 14 attacks on the flank. That is not a good charge. But had it been 20 attacks with Brutal and Thunder 2, that might have done it. But anyway, I roll pretty poorly on... Or I roll average, I want to say, on Nyx here. Yeah, I think I roll average on Nyx here. I roll very poorly on my Chariots. They don't even hit the Clan Lord, it looks like... So cool for them, especially as he might see this flank charge, which should not be a flank charge because I should have come in like this. So yeah, just a movement error by me. With the rest of my shooting, I do basically nothing to these Ancients. No, I don't. I do 10 wounds to these Ancients. I do pretty well, but the archers do significantly below average. Keep in mind that these already had 3 wounds on them. So I have an archer horde on 4s and 4s with Elite. So like, I don't know, 5-ish wounds on average, 5-6 wounds. Then I've got the Blizzard because I do manage to get the Alchemist Curse up here and kill off those Tyrants. So I do have a Blizzard which misses. Oh no, I can't shoot Blizzard, right? Because it's within 12? I must have shot Blizzard at the Tyrants. Either way, Blizzard missed. And then I've got this breath 10. So yeah, I only managed 7 wounds with all that. So I guess it's, you know what? I take it back. That's pretty average. But unfortunately, the ancients are a dash 17, and I didn't roll that hot 7, even though they are out of the rally bubble here. I again fail it. I actually rolled a double 1, which you can see down here. I didn't take a picture of it because I'd rolled 2 at this point, and I was tired, so I didn't take any. My prince manages 1 wound onto the Skylord, and I think kills it, but we'll see in a picture here. I think I do kill the Skylord finally, so that's good. So let's move forward to turn 3 for the Salamanders, which looks like this. Yeah, so starting on the left, we've got the easy Rhinosaur countercharge into my Shamblers, so that's something. And then we've got the Ancients going in next. That's really bad, even though they lose their crushing while fighting me because of my weakness aura. Still not great. It looks like, oh no. So it looks like my Chariots did manage a couple of wounds. So I managed 3 wounds onto the Clan Lord, which is essentially nothing. And it gets a flank charge, or a quote flank charge, onto my Wizard here, hoping for the disorder. And here's the big flank charge onto my Chariots that should not have been a flank charge. So I can easily take, well, not easily, but I can almost certainly take a front charge from these Ancients with my Chariots. I'm not worried about that too much, but a flank charge, not so much. And then Nyx decides to just take this flank charge that I gave her. Apparently, just lined it up, so I was perfectly within 20. So yeah, it sucks that I was wavered, but then I compounded it by just sucking at the game. So yeah, I get flank charge there. And I think that's about it for the charges. This will kill it on, and these Sky Raiders, these Sky Raiders decide to just sit still to get some shots through. They're looking to shoot into the Tree Herder, or not Tree Herder, Force Warden this turn, which is when I learned the Force Warden's not fearless. So Shamblers are fearless, but the Force Warden is somehow like a live thing. So interesting. Definitely an interesting thing in terms of like, what is a Force Warden? Is it an elf then? So moving forward, here is the action shot. Not looking great for the elves on the left here, or on the right to be sure. And here's the end of the turn. So yeah, these Rhinosaurs rampage through my my Shamblers. Again, they only miss 3 times and just explode the Shamblers. So it wasn't good odds that I would survive there, but yeah, my opponent still rolls out the box. Nyx takes I think 6 wounds here. Yeah, I believe I take 6 wounds, 6 or 7 wounds from the Ancients, which is again significantly above average because the Ancients, while hitting me on 3s and with Crushing 1 and Vicious, are in weakness right now. So they got 12 attacks hitting on 3s, and then they're winning me on 5s with reroll 1s. Not the best. The Clan Lord here, my opponent forgot to roll it, so we went back at the end of the turn, or after I took this picture and rolled it. I believe the Clan Lord does like one or two wounds, enough to disorder me at least. So the Wizard is now disordered. The Ancients that got the flank charge that shouldn't have been easily dismantle my Chariots. Again, they only miss like, the first set of dice I think missed with 6, but the second set don't miss at all. So the Chariots get obliterated, and that's that. My Draken Riders get obliterated, and that's that. And the Gekota plus the Lakilodon manage, I believe, 10 wounds onto my Forest Warden here. Or no, 9 wounds onto the Forest Warden here. So, wow. That's pretty ridiculous. Although the Sky Raiders, let's see, they're 18 attacks on 4s, so like 9-ish hits, and then wounding me on 5s. It's 3-ish wounds with a reroll, so like, 3.3 wounds. The Lakilodon's got 5 shots, I believe, on 3s right now, so around, let's say, like 175, so we'll give it 4 or 5 wounds. So almost double the expected, or maybe exactly double the expected damage. These lizards are hot today, hot-blooded. And thankfully, though, my opponent only manages a waiver onto them. I did use my Nyx reroll down here, just fishing for a double 1 because things are looking very bad in the game, but my opponent doesn't get it. So, happens. and then turns to face the rear of my dragon, who obviously will not be there. And we move forward on to turn 4. So turn 4. Turn 4 is an interesting one. So I run my mage over here. I would love my mage right now to block up these rhinosaurs well, maybe. These rhinosaurs did not pivot well enough after they fought my shamblers. I don't know why they're facing this way, because they should be facing towards Nyx. If they were facing towards Nyx, I would have had to sacrifice the mage now, but since they're not, I just run away. I charge into the Clanlord with my 4 shamblers, hoping to just spike some damage. I charge into the front of these ancients with 10 wounds on them with my dragon, and then I move my archers forward a little bit because Nyx actually had a flank charge on them, so it was either walk back or move forward. I chose forward so I could engage the Sky Raiders as well. Also, so I can get closer to this token because I'm running out of time to actually win the game. So, and then my wavered Forest Warden just backs up and then nimble pivots like so. So it would be a front charge from Nyx. I do charge Nyx with my little noble who could. And yes, I did kill this Skylord from 2 turns ago when I said we'll find out. But yeah, it's dead. And here is the action shot, showing off the remnants of the elf army. And here's the end of the turn shot. So Nyx does counter or charge back into the ancients here, but with only 7 attacks and only thunderous charge, no crushing strength. I manage, I think, 1 wound on him. And with the brutal, I don't manage to kill them off. My shamblers, again, roll pretty well. I end up doing 4 wounds to this Clanlord, but I can't seal the deal. And then my dragon, thankfully, doesn't fail, kills off the ancients, actually just barely. So that was pretty good. And by just barely, I mean I rolled a 3 to finish them off. I believe my opponent made me... he's already used his Nyx reroll, and I believe it was when I killed off this Lycilodon, because I rolled a 10 twice, so I rolled a 4 plus 6 on the second roll, and oh no, it's not this turn, it's this Lycilodon. So yeah, this turn my archers shoot into this Lycilodon, only managed 3 wounds, which, I mean, it was on 5s because I moved, but yeah, I managed 3 wounds there, and then I roll another 10 into, or only 1 10 because it's not inspired. So I roll a 10 there, and my opponent makes me reroll my 6, and I roll another 6. So at least these Lycilodons are taking it. So they're gone, and I do manage one wound on Nyx here. Oh, speaking of that, Nyx has a regen of 4+. I failed all my regen, and we'll see how my opponent's regen goes on Salamander's turn 4. So Salamander's turn 4. Not sure how Nyx got there. Nyx can't fly right now. So how did Nyx charge my dragon? I feel like what happened here is cheating. So yeah, again, this is another mistake. This is a mistake my opponent and I both made here, which is that we allowed Nyx to fly, even though Nyx is obviously disordered from taking 1 wound from my prince. Good job, me. So yeah, Nyx charges into my dragon. The Clanlord leaves my shamblers alone, goes into the side of my archers, not that the side matters. And then the Sky Raiders just move over here to hopefully finish off, well, not hopefully for me, but hopefully for my opponent, finish off my Forest Warden. I know what it's called. And then, yeah, these big boys decide to drop their loot token, charge their 14 into the flank of my shamblers, so that'll probably be the end of those shamblers. If it isn't, that would be very, very surprising. And oh yeah, and then these ancients charge back into Nyx, who is not appearing in this game anymore. Nyx's model is down here because it's just the tongue and all the like bottom of the dragon is just like scraping on these models, so I just took it off. And here's the end of the turn shot. So yeah, these guys easily kill off the 4 shamblers. They roll pretty average here, I want to say. But we didn't even roll the second set of dice because average was enough to kill the shamblers at double 1s. The ancients here don't manage to kill Nyx, but Nyx's dials down here. Nyx is now at 9 wounds, so it doesn't roll an 8, but still, that's another 3 wounds to me. Ugh. My dragon takes quite a few wounds from Nyx. I think we remembered that Nyx didn't have any Thunder's Charge, but we didn't remember that it couldn't fly. You know, perfect. I do lose my whatchamacallit, the Force Warden here pretty easily. The Gekota, again, just roll insanely high. It didn't matter because I was already at 9 wounds, but they do roll crazy in case you're wanting to keep count the year. Artakal reappears into the game. I mean, I think for the first time, but ran to get over here. So yeah, I couldn't shoot. And then the Clanlord does manage a measly 1 wound onto my archers, but that's enough. And we move on to turn 5. So turn 5 for the Elves. It's an interesting one, because if you look at the score, my opponent has 1 loot token, right? Due to my Shamblers dying, and then I don't have any loot right now, but I have the center kind of. I mean, it's a messy one, but I could take the center here and get a loot token very quickly onto my turn 6, and hopefully it'll work out. But yeah, it's still, in terms of victory points, a tight game. But again, Nyx charges into these ancients, hoping that she can roll high enough to kill him. My Alchemist Curse Mage is sitting right behind the Rhinosaurs here, who are on 8 wounds due to fighting Shamblers. So yeah, I'm hoping to just spike some dice there, because if I don't, Nyx is dead, like pretty much automatically. So hopefully I've got that going. I decide to take my Prince into the flank, or into the rear of Nyx, because I couldn't get to the Gekota, and I can't see Artakal because of where I was with the hill. So yeah, I go into Nyx. I take my Dragon Kindred Lord into the front of Nyx. Nyx is still sitting on 1 wound because, again, failed that regen. So I don't know, it could happen. And then these archers did have a flank charge on Nyx, but they only wound on 6s, yeah, because of weakness. So it would have been 40 attacks hindered, so on 6s and 6s. So not the best odds. So instead I just take the 20 attacks on 5s and 6s, assuming that I don't just kill off Nyx here. So let's go into, and then my regen does succeed. I heal 2 wounds off of Nyx. So I had 9 on me. Now I'm down to a measly 7. So I'm ready to go, guys. And here is, that's the action shot. And here's the end of the turn. So yeah, the archers, I believe, do manage a wound onto, no, they don't. They do not manage a wound onto the Clanlord. That is unfortunate. And then because the Clanlord doesn't die, so I decided to roll the Clanlord first, because the Clanlord has rally 2 onto Nyx, so Nyx is a dash 19. I don't want that. So I tried to roll the archers. They don't manage a wound at all. It would have been pretty good if they had managed that 1-6 at least, but don't get it. And then on Nyx, I end up dialing the wounds up to, like, I think I get Nyx up to 10 wounds. I roll pretty well here, considering I'm -1 crushing on those units. But yeah, Nyx still stands, partially due to the +2 nerve, I want to say. So I think I roll high enough to kill it, and then the +2 nerve saves it. But there was still a reroll due to the Inspire on the Clanlord, so, you know, meh. And then I do manage to Alchemist Curse these Rhinosaurs off, so at least there's hope in the game. Nyx does, again, fail to kill these Ancients. Oh, it'll be the death of me, won't it? We move on to Salamander turn 5. Oh, actually we don't. So this is the end of the turn shot because, sorry about that. Technically, right here, I just go, well, we'll see how your turn goes, and then I'll probably concede because I have 0 VP. But right now, both of us have 0 VP, right? This loot token was dropped by the friggin' Rhinosaurs. No one has any VP. So my opponent goes, the Ancients roll insane. They only miss 3 times, they wound me like 5 times, and they kill Nyx with a 10. And then Nyx charges into the flank of my archers because so Nyx can see my archers right here. There's a thin line, and then is in their flank, due to where the leader point is, and then can just free rotate over here and get into my flank, kills the archers. The Clanlord charges into my 6 wound dragon, kills it, of course, and I think my prince gets shot to death. I think. No, I know what happened. The Clanlord, no, sorry about that. The Clanlord charges into my mage and kills the mage. Then these Artakal and the Gekota Skyriders shoot my dragon and just obliterate it. They get it up to like 12 wounds or something like that. It's on 6. No, it's got to be higher than that. I think these alone get it to 12 wounds, and then our Toggle just adds a little insult to injury. Point is, my entire army's dead except for this one prince. Nyx dies. The archers die, the dragon dies, and my wizard dies. So I'm down to 1 prince, and that's the game. Now, before I get into my thoughts on what happened here, of course you can tell, or maybe you can tell from my report here, my opponent spiked dice very hard this game. It was ridiculous. And I did make 2 huge mistakes in terms of we just played it wrong, which is there's no way Nyx could charge me. I'm pretty sure. And by no way, I mean, I'm relatively certain Nyx cannot charge my dragon from where it was before. Let's roll some pictures back. Yeah, there's no chance that Nyx hits this and slides. I want to say. I want to say there's no chance, but I'm looking at the picture now, and maybe I just made a mistake in my movement. But I feel there's no chance when we just let Nyx fly. But the bigger one being the chariots before that were right here, right? That was very obviously a flank charge, and yeah, I just charged into the front, and it made it so I got flanked instead. So even with the 2 big those mistakes, even with my opponent's dice spiking super hard, it doesn't matter because I just played terribly this game. I mean, this is just one of those games. I wasn't going to do the report, but then I think it's important to post things like this just to show that, you know, you can have off games. I mean, I have them obviously from time to time, and I do put them onto the channel, but this was really bad. I just wasn't paying attention at all, just kind of out of it. But hopefully you guys like the report anyway. It's always nice playing against a fully painted army, and you get to see the progress of these elves. I've only had 2 calendar days to paint them so far because I've just been on business trips and vacation trips, and just it's been really busy lately. But I'm making it pretty far. Very happy with the progress on them. So hope you guys like it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.